Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you my favorite literary love stories. So these are I was trying to think of like something like Valentine's Day related in like kind of romances, but then I realized I don't typically read a lot of those stories. But so these are kind of just love stories in general. It can be a love story between friends, family members, like those type of things. So it can be a very kind of love stories in the general sense, love in every aspect of it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I first have The Alice Network by Kate Quinn, and although this technically does have like a traditional kind of two people falling in love type story, I'm focusing more on the love that is kind of developed over the course of this novel between Charlie and Eve, who are very much in the beginning of the book very at different ends. Eve in particular is very grouchy and just kind of very angry with a lot of things, and through her journey with what they go through in this novel together with Charlie, it kind of strengthens their bond and strengthens their love for each other, and they just make a very unlikely pair in friendship. So the premise of the story is that it takes place kind of post World War II, and it follows a girl named Charlie who is being sent to Switzerland by her parents to get rid of her mistake. And so when she gets off the boat in London, she ends up running away, and she wants to find what happened to her cousin Rose during World War II, who went missing. And so she kind of recruits the help of Eve and then Eve's assistant, and it kind of goes off from there. But we also get Eve's background in World War I, where she was a spy for England, and it kind of goes off from there, and the two storylines are very much kind of intermixed and they run very parallel to each other. So yeah, I really like this. Like I said, I really love especially kind of the love that is formed between Eve and Charlie. I think that is my favorite part of this whole thing, and yeah, I think it's just really well done. Next up, I have Firefly Lane by Kristin, and this is a book that I read a long time ago, and I think like when this video comes out, there's going to be like the Netflix series on it too, so that is really exciting. I read this, I want to say in like 2014, like a long time ago. You can tell this book is old because the pages have turned yellow, but essentially what I'm really focusing on here is the love that is kind of shared between Kate and Tully. And this book in particular, we follow their friendship over 3 decades, when they first become friends when they're younger, through university, through marriage, and then ultimately some things that happen later on that I don't want to spoil. But what I really like about this book is that it focuses on the ups and downs of friendship, and how friendships change as people change over the course of their life, and how even though they kind of have all these things going on between them, they still have love for each other. And I really like that, especially showing strong female friendships. I think is very important, and I think it's there's something in here that every person can relate to, having that friend that's been in their life forever, or just someone that is going to be in your life forever. Like that friendship, I think is very important, and kind of showcasing that love two people can have for each other in that way, I think it's very important. Next up, this is probably the most traditional of like the romances on here, and it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and this is the kind of love story romance between Farah and Rysand. Like this is probably like my kind of I get more attached to couples in like visual formats, so in like TV or movies I feel like I'm more invested in those type of things than the kind of literary stuff for whatever reason. But this is like probably my like ride or die couple of all times, and there's so many couples in here. Like when I'm pre-filming this, so like A Court of Silver Flames or whatever, like the new one comes out with like the other ones. So like Cassian and Nesta are like another couple that I really like. So like there's so many couples in here that I totally ship, but it's like Farah and Rysand that I would like 100% go down with that ship. Like I love it so much. So next up, I have one that's a little bit different, and it is The Clockmakers Daughter by Kate Moore. This is her most recent release that I believe came out in 2018, and I've read all her other books, and I've loved them all, but this one I think is very unique in just terms of the premise of it. So the general premise of the story is that it follows this girl in present day who finds this satchel with that's like 150 years old, and it has sketches from an artist, and there's this woman in there that looks kind of eerily familiar, and so she's very intrigued with this woman that she finds in the kind of sketching, and so she's trying to kind of go back and figure out who this woman was. And so we get kind of the storyline of the artist back in the 1850s who ends up falling in love with one of his models, and it kind of goes off from there. But what I really like about this is that you know it is a doomed kind of romance from the beginning, because it's told from the perspective of the woman who ends up dying at this kind of cabin, and it's told from her perspective as a ghost and as she's kind of stuck in this home where she was killed, and as these people kind of move in and out of kind of that space. And I think it's really interesting, especially because you know it's a doomed romance, and because of that, because it's told from the ghost, I think it's very interesting, and I really love it too, especially because you know how it's going to end, but it's also kind of bittersweet as well. So yeah, it's very interesting, and I think the mystery aspect and kind of that looking back on it in the afterlife, I think it's very interesting. So this is one that isn't necessarily kind of a full-on romance, but it's very much kind of a love that develops over time, and love and respect, I should say. And it is the Winter Night Trilogy by Catherine Arden, the first book being The Bear and the Nightingale. And this one in particular, it follows Vasilia and the Nightingale, who kind of knows her as a child, and they kind of grow to love and respect each other over the course of this trilogy. And I like how they kind of do have feelings for each other, but a lot of it is tied in for their respect for one another, which I really like. So basically the premise of this story is that it's based on Russian folklore, and it follows a girl named Vasilia who can kind of talk to a lot of the kind of folk creatures that are like the mythical creatures that are part of Russian folklore, and she can kind of connect people to, she connects our world to the folklore world. And so when the implementation of kind of religion and other aspects kind of get thrown in that kind of divert people from these kind of mythical kind of beings, it kind of wreaks havoc on the human world because of that. And so Vasilia is kind of tasked with kind of being the bridge between those two, and it kind of goes off from there. But I love this trilogy, and especially because we get to see Vasilia basically, especially in this one, when the first 100 pages, I will say it's a little slow, but you kind of cover Vasilia when she's basically a child, and then she kind of grows into a woman, so you kind of get to see that course of her life grow in here, but also kind of the love and respect that she has with the Nightingale, I think makes it a lot of fun. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite literary love stories are and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.